The strange discovery der. Nadia Volkov stared at her laboratory screen, running her fingers through her auburn hair in disbelief. The DNA analysis couldn't be right. She'd spent 15 years studying xenobiology at the prestigious Hawthorne Institute, but nothing had prepared her for this. "Run it again," she whispered to herself, initiating another scan. The holographic display pulsed with shifting patterns of genetic code, but the results remained unchanged. Across the room, Freya Winters sat patiently, her unusual amber eyes fixed on the ceiling. She'd come in for a routine genetic screening after experiencing unexplained blackouts and strange dreams. At 28, she lived a quiet life as a botanical researcher, with no history of serious medical issues. "Is everything all right, doctor?" Freya asked, noticing Nadia's troubled expression. Nadia hesitated. "Your DNA. It contains sequences I've never seen before. Non-human sequences." Freya laughed nervously. "That's impossible. I've run the test 3 times. Nadia transferred the results to the main display. "See these markers? They don't match any known terrestrial pattern." The laboratory door slid open as Nadia's assistant, Julian Reed, entered carrying equipment. "Dr. Volkov, the quantum sequencer is ready for it." He stopped, seeing the tension in the room. "Julian, look at this." Nadia beckoned him over, pointing to specific genetic markers on the display. "These sequences aren't just anomalies. They're perfectly structured, almost like they were engineered." Julian's eyes widened. "This can't be right. Ms. Winters, were you adopted by any chance?" Freya's face paled. "No, I grew up with my parents in Seattle. Normal childhood, normal life." Her voice wavered. "At least, that's what I've always believed." Nadia approached Freya, her voice gentle. "These markers suggest you're not entirely human, Freya. About 40% of your DNA appears to be something else." The room fell silent as Freya processed this information. Finally, she spoke. "My father was an astronaut. He participated in the first manned mission to Europa 29 years ago. Shortly after he returned, my mother got pregnant with me." Nadia and Julian exchanged glances. The Europa mission had been legendary humanity's first contact with potential extraterrestrial microorganisms. "Did anything unusual happen during that mission?" Nadia asked. "Dad never talked about it much. He left when I was 8. Freya's hands trembled. "But my mother once mentioned an incident, something about a strange light when they were drilling through the ice." Sudden alert blared from Nadia's computer. "Someone's accessing our system," Julian warned, typing frantically. "They're downloading Freya's results. Lock it down," Nadia commanded, but it was too late. "Government credentials," Julian whispered. "High-level clearance." Nadia's instincts kicked in. "We need to leave now." She grabbed her tablet and emergency kit. "They'll be here soon." "Who?" Freya asked, panic rising in her voice. "Whoever wants your DNA." Nadia helped Freya to her feet. "And judging by that access level, they've been looking for someone like you for a long time." As they rushed toward the emergency exit, Nadia's mind raced with possibilities. If Freya's father had encountered something on Europa, some non-terrestrial DNA had somehow been integrated with human genetics, ... Double quotes, "Where are we going?" Freya asked as they reached Nadia's vehicle. "To the only person who might understand what's happening," Nadia replied, starting the engine. "Dr. Dominic Thorne. He's been studying potential alien civilizations for decades." As they pulled away from the institute, Nadia noticed black vehicles approaching in her rearview mirror. Whatever Freya was, whatever her existence meant, one thing was certain: their lives would never be the same again. Hidden. Origins: the mountain roads twisted through dense forest as Nadia pushed her electric vehicle to its limits. Freya clutched the dashboard, her amber eyes wide with fear and confusion. "They're still following us," she said. Glancing at the black SUVs in the distance, Nadia took a sharp turn onto a hidden dirt road. "Dominic's research facility is just ahead. He went off-grid years ago after the government cut his funding. The facility came into view, a modest structure nestled against the mountainside, its exterior designed to blend with the natural surroundings." Nadia rushed to the entrance panel and pressed her palm against it. "Dominic." "It's Nadia. Emergency." Protocol 7. The door slid open to reveal a tall man with salt-and pepper hair and intense gray eyes. Dr. Dominic Thorne wore a worn sweater with elbow patches that matched his academic demeanor. Inside. Quickly, he ushered them in, sealing the entrance behind them. The perimeter defenses will keep them at bay. Temporarily, Nadia made hurried introductions. As they descended into the heart of the facility, a vast underground laboratory filled with advanced equipment and charts her DNA analysis, Nadia explained. Transferring the data to Dominic's system, I've never seen anything like it. Dominic studied the display, his expression shifting from skepticism to wonder. Remarkable. These sequences match theoretical patterns I've been studying for years. He turned to Freya. Hey, your father was on the Europa mission, correct? Commander James Winters? Freya nodded, surprised. You knew him? I helped design the biological containment protocols for that mission. Dominic's voice grew quiet. There was an incident they never made public. Sudden tremor shook the facility as warning lights flashed. On the security monitors, armed figures surrounded the perimeter. They found us faster than I expected, Dominic muttered. Freya clutched her head, doubling over in pain. Something's happening to me before their eyes. Freya's skin began to shimmer with an iridescent glow. The laboratory equipment around them flickered and sparked. She's generating an electromagnetic field, Dominic gasped. Checking his instruments, Nadia reached for Freya but pulled back when a small arc of energy connected them. Freya, try to control it. Focus on my voice. The glow intensified, then suddenly dissipated. Freya collapsed into Dominic's arms, exhausted but conscious. Pow! What's happening to me? She whispered. Dominic helped her to a chair. I believe your non-human DNA is activating. The Europa mission encountered something not just microorganisms, as reported. Your father discovered a crystalline structure beneath the ice that contained genetic material unlike anything we'd seen. Are you saying my father was impregnated by an alien? Freya asked incredulously. No, Dominic replied, pulling up classified files on his screen. The crystalline structure contained what we now believe was a dormant intelligentsia, data archive of a species called the Stellarians. When James was exposed, their genetic code merged with his reproductive DNA. Another explosion rocked the facility. On the monitors, the armed agents had breached the outer defenses. We need to move, Nadia urged. Is there another way out? Dominic nodded, activating a hidden panel. Underground transport system. I built it for contingencies like this. As they hurried through the opening, Freya paused, looking at Dominic. You've been expecting something like this, haven't you? Someone like me. Dominic's expression softened. I've spent my life searching for proof of intelligent life beyond Earth. I never imagined it would come in such a beautiful form.
Ow.
Their eyes locked momentarily, an unexpected connection forming between them as they fled into the darkness, leaving the facility and everything they'd known behind. The celestial connection. The underground transport deposited them at an abandoned observatory perched on a remote cliffside. Ancient telescopes stood alongside modern equipment in the circular chamber that Dominic had converted into a secondary research facility. Welcome to Stellaris Point, he said, activating the power systems, named after the very beings we're discussing. As the lights flickered on, the domed ceiling came alive with a projection of stars. Freya gasped, instinctively reaching toward specific constellations. Goodness, she whispered. That's where they're from. Dominic and Nadia exchanged surprised glances. How did you know that? Dominic asked softly. I don't know. It just came to me. Freya touched her temple. There are memories inside me that aren't mine. Nadia examined Freya with a handheld scanner. Your brain activity has changed. These patterns suggest neural reorganization. Dominic approached a secure cabinet and removed a small crystalline object that glowed with a faint blue light. This fragment was recovered from Europa. It's all that remains of what your father discovered. As Freya reached for it, the crystal pulsed brighter. When her fingers made contact, she gasped, her eyes flooding with the same blue luminescence. I can see them, she breathed. The Stellarians. They weren't invaders, they were refugees. Their star was dying. They sent their genetic legacy across the galaxy, hoping to preserve their civilization. The crystal's glow enveloped her, creating a cocoon of light. Within it, Dominic and Nadia could see ghostly images of civilization of beautiful, luminous beings whose bodies seemed composed of starlight. "They're speaking to me," Freya continued, tears streaming down her face. "They chose Earth because humans were genetically compatible. They didn't expect the merger to create someone like me. I'm the first." The light faded gradually, leaving Freya changed. Her amber eyes now held flecks of blue, and her skin retained a subtle luminescence. "The Stellarians aren't extinct," she explained, her voice steadier now. "They're dormant, waiting within their genetic archives scattered across the solar system." Dominic moved closer to Freya, his expression filled with wonder. "You're the bridge between our species." Their hands touched, and the electricity between them wasn't entirely from her Stellarian abilities. Something deeper connected them, a shared fascination with the unknown, a desire to unite rather than divide. "Why are those agents hunting us?" Nadia asked, monitoring the security systems. "Because of this," Freya replied, raising her hand. A holographic display materialized from her fingertips, showing complex equations and star maps. "The Stellarians possess technology beyond our understanding. Technology that could revolutionize space travel, energy production, medicine, or weapons," Dominic finished grimly. "I believe we're dealing with Section 7, a classified government division tasked with acquiring extraterrestrial technology." Freya's holographic display shifted to show a hidden facility in the Nevada desert. "We need to go here. There are others like my experiments, attempts to replicate what happened to my father." Dominic's hand found Freya's, their fingers intertwining. "Whatever happens, I'll help you free them." The intensity of his gaze made Freya's heart race. In the midst of this impossible situation, something very human was blossoming between them. "First," Nadia interrupted, "we need a plan to infiltrate one of the most secure facilities on Earth." Freya smiled, her expression carrying new confidence. "I think I might have some Stellarian tricks that could help with that." Hunters and hunted the Nevada desert stretched endlessly around them as they approached the Section 7 facility under cover of night. Their stolen vehicle kicked up dust that glowed silver in the moonlight. "Security systems show standard patrols," Nadia reported, checking her tablet. "But there's something strange about the energy readings." Freya sat in the back seat, eyes closed in concentration. Over the past 48 hours, she'd gained remarkable control over her abilities. "There are 23 people inside with DNA like mine. Not as developed, but similar." Dominic drove steadily toward the unmarked entrance. "The plan is simple. Freya creates a diversion with her electromagnetic abilities, while Nadia and I access the central database." As they neared the perimeter, Freya touched Dominic's shoulder. The intimacy of the gesture wasn't lost on him. "Be careful," she whispered. "Director Hammond is dangerous. I can sense his thoughts. He doesn't want to understand the Stellarians. He wants to weaponize us." Dominic turned to face her, his expression serious. "We'll be careful, but promise me you will be too." Their faces drew closer, the tension between them electric. Their lips met briefly, a kiss fueled by both fear and possibility. "I promise," Freya replied softly. Nadia cleared her throat. "We're within range. It's time." Freya exited the vehicle and approached the fence. Placing her palms against it, she sent pulses of energy through the security system. Alarms blared as the facility's lights flickered and died. "Now," Dominic urged, and they sprinted toward the entrance. Inside, chaos reigned as emergency systems failed and security doors malfunctioned. They navigated the darkened corridors using the facility map Freya had extracted from the Stellarian memories. "The research lab is through here," Nadia indicated. Using a stolen keycard to access a restricted area, the laboratory was vast, filled with medical equipment and containment pods. Inside each pod floated a person displaying varying degrees of Stellarian characteristics. "They're experimenting on them," Dominic growled, his hands clenching into fists. Nadia accessed the central computer. According to these files, they've been trying to replicate the Europa incident for decades. These subjects are all children of the original astronauts, but none has developed abilities like Freya's. A slow clapping echoed through the lab. Impressive detective work. They turned to see a distinguished man in his 60s, Director Wesley Hammond, flanked by armed guards. Dr. Thorne, Dr. Volkov, welcome to Section 7. His smile didn't reach his cold eyes. I see our special guest isn't with you. What have you done to these people? Dominic demanded. Given them purpose, Hammond replied. The Stellarian genetic code holds the key to humanity's future. Imagine soldiers with their abilities, or spies who can access any information system. You're perverting something beautiful, Nadia countered. The Stellarians came seeking harmony, not war, Hammond laughed. How poetically naive. In this universe, power is the only currency that matters. A sudden explosion rocked the facility as the lights surged back to full brightness. That would be Freya, Dominic said. Unable to suppress a smile, the containment pods began opening one by one, their occupants awakening. Through the confusion, Dominic and Nadia slipped away, racing toward the coordinates where Freya's energy signature pulsed like a beacon. They found her in a secured vault, standing before a massive crystalline structure far larger than the fragment Dominic had kept. It's the original, Freya explained, her body glowing with Stellarian light. My father didn't just bring back a sample. He brought back their core consciousness. As alarms blared around them, Freya placed her hands on the crystal. It's time for both our worlds to truly meet. Two worlds unite. The crystal pulsed with blinding intensity as Freya established connection with the Stellarian consciousness. The entire facility trembled, dust raining from the ceiling as energy coursed through the building's foundation. Nadia shouted over the noise. Freya's voice echoed with harmonic overtones. The awakening. For decades, the Stellarians have been dormant, waiting for the right catalyst. That's mean not just a hybrid, but a bridge. Director Hammond burst into the vault, weapon raised. Step away from the artifact, Ms. Winters. Dominic moved protectively toward Freya, but she gestured him back. It's all right. He can't harm me now. As if to prove her point, Hammond's weapon dissolved into particles of light in his hands. The other Stellarian hybrids filed into the room, their eyes glowing with the same ethereal blue as Freya's. You don't understand what you're dealing with, Hammond warned, his composure cracking. Neither did you, Freya replied calmly. The Stellarians didn't come here to be weaponized. They came to evolve alongside us, to create something new through harmony, not dominance. The crystal's glow expanded, enveloping everyone in the room. Within the light, they all saw visions of the Stellarian homeworld, its beauty, its decline, and the desperate hope that had sent their essence across the stars. They're showing us their truth, Dominic whispered. Moving to stand beside Freya, his hand found hers, their fingers intertwining as the vision continued. The light receded gradually, leaving the room transformed. Hammond stood silent, tears streaming down his face. I didn't know, he whispered. All these years, I thought we were protecting humanity. Freya approached him, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. Now you have the chance to truly do so. Help us bring these two worlds together properly. Okay. In the days that followed, Section 7 was dismantled and reformed under new leadership. The Stellarian hybrids were freed, becoming ambassadors of a new era of human-Stellarian cooperation. The crystal was relocated to a special facility where scientists and diplomats from around the world could study and communicate. With the ancient intelligence within, Freya and Dominic stood on the observation deck, watching the sunset bathe the desert in golden light, his arm wrapped around her waist, pulling her close. I never imagined discovering alien life would lead me to fall in love, he murmured against her hair. Freya turned in his embrace, her luminescent eyes meeting his. Perhaps that was their plan all along. The Stellarians believed that emotional connection was the highest form of communication. Their lips met in a tender kiss that deepened with promise. When they finally separated, both were slightly breathless. What happens now? Dominic asked. Will you continue to change? To become more Stellarian? Freya smiled, touching his face gently. I don't think it works that way. I'm not becoming less human or more Stellarian. I'm something neuther, first of many bridges between worlds. Above them, the first stars appeared in the darkening sky. Somewhere in the vastness of space, other Stellarian archives waited to be discovered. Other civilizations prepared for first contact. Whatever comes next, Freya whispered, we'll face it together. As night fell fully, her skin began to glow softly, illuminating their embrace with starlight, a perfect symbol of two worlds becoming one.